So anyways, you gotta stop falling for the bullshit. Waking up. Wake up. You've heard this term so many times. And now I see so many people that are enthralled by this Q bullshit. The Great Awakening. We're part of the Great Awakening. You know what? I think a lot of awake people are like, no, you're not. But if you look back into your history and think about a few things. Let's think about this. Okay? Think about that for a second. The Great Awakening. Why are they using this term now? And I remember something. I remember coming across some information when I woke up. Of course, just like anybody else, I researched everything I could find. I wanted to know what the hell's going on here. What's going on this planet? I'm awake. People are lying. The government's bullshit. Everything's bullshit. What's going on? But I did always have a little bit of, I guess you would call it, a flavor for history. I liked history. It was interesting to me. The stories of peoples and what and how they lived in the past. So I studied things, and I oftentimes found some interest in some of the religious movements, like the Quakers and the Methodists and the Pilgrims, and of course their ties to the crypto Jews that were behind him, and the was it the Fox Sisters or Fox Brothers, whatever. The Fox Sisters are the spiritualist ones, but the spiritualist movement too. Running you all the way up into Madame Blavatsky, and the history of the health spas of yesteryear, and examining these religious movements. And so often they were tied to the Great Awakening, an awakening. And you're like, wait a second. I'm awakened, but I don't have nothing to do with this religious crap. What's going on here? Why were there important people in the past pushing these things called the Great Awakening or the Awakening? And then I started to analyze it, okay? Look into it a little more. Like the Enlightenment period, okay? Especially the Enlightenment period in France. And find out that it was a very Masonic thing. That was a Masonic thing. The Jacobins, Masonic bullshit. And started to realize, okay, wait a second. Sure, I woke up to all this, but I don't think I'm the person they want to wake up. They want masses to wake up a little bit, to start to question things, and start to lead them into these religious directions. Because religion seems to be kind of behind everything when it comes to control. When it comes to controlling the masses, when it comes to controlling, you, people. Maybe not you, because, most likely the people that actually, few that watch me, are on a little bit different level of awakening. They start to understand, yeah, even the people that are part of this shit are bullshit. So they haven't fallen down the track of, this religious movement. And, just to piss people off that, listen, I know, and I don't mean to, I try not to rank on you flat earth people too often. I try not to. But flat earth is a religious movement. No matter which way you look at it, it's a religious movement. Okay? Start to examine it. Start to look at your past. And if you're flat earth, examine how much more religious you are now to how you were before you started realizing different things. And I can guarantee you're a lot more religious now because you're part of this Great Awakening. Back in the day, okay, they had these religious leaders. And, we got to remember, they didn't have the intraweb. They didn't have the television. They didn't have the movies. They didn't have all kinds of stuff like that jazz. They had things like this, okay? They had old-fashioned, like, I mean, think about it. That's the TV they had back in the day. They had like a little wooden, like, I don't even know what you'd call that little playhouse thing there. And the actors, because, I mean, in theory, that's what those preachers were back then. You know, they had to be entertainers. Get everybody on thrill. Get their money. Get them to go down this religious path. Amen. So they got them, you know, into this awakening through their speeches, through their shows, through their sideshow, through their entertaining religious movements, by giving them some knowledge that they possess. Because when you study, that's the interesting thing, is when you study these preachers, any of these famous preachers of back in the day, Masons, you know, I literally read a journal, okay, and this, because I was researching a family history of some people that had been involved in false flags in Michigan. So I read this family journal, and you know, it was written by a preacher, okay, and anyway, so it was interesting. He had a friend that was a Jewish friend, a rabbi, and he had his friend come to one of his sermons, and a sermon in Connecticut, and they thought it would be funny to, you know, to have the rabbi give the sermon, and also, as the people were coming into the church, dose them with holy water. Douse them, I guess. Just throw holy water at them. Okay? The priest, the Masonic priest and rabbis, they knew back then that they could just play with the minds of their people, the flock. They, you know, I read about it. He was literally writing in how much they thought it was so funny that the people didn't do nothing or question the fact that their rabbi was throwing holy water at them. And if that gives you a state of how the people really were, or how the people that do what they do are, they think it's a joke that you don't question them. They think it's a joke that you know, fall down those paths that they want you to fall down. And they literally do this stuff laughing at the people that, you know, follow them, because it's a joke to them. And that sometimes it makes me angry. It's like, well, you can't do that to people. And then you deal with, wait a second, you deal with just these idiots that can't comprehend what's actually going on in their own lives, or even research things to, you know, that's not hidden. That these stories of awakenings and enlightenments and the processes and the Masons is not hidden. It's there. And the people don't, if they read it, they only grasp that nugget that is wanted for them to grasp. You know, these people laugh about how they can show you how, you know, tell you to hate them. You'll hate them, but never do anything about it, and never understand what the hell they're doing it anyways. And that's why you can't do anything about it, because you don't understand it. And I'm not saying I'm all seeing and all knowing. I don't know fucking shit half the time. I think I'm a fucking idiot most of the time. But what I am saying is, I read the shit. Read the shit. I understand why the closest church to the CIA is a Quaker church. That's right on their big property, on their property in Langley. I understand that. I understand the history. I understand the religious movements. Okay. Quakers were involved in their own awakening. Of course, I mean, you should already know that, because I'm sure you studied all the religions of the past in America and followed that stuff. And, you know, especially if something said awakening, you caught your interest and you actually read it. Right? 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 Of course you did. Of course. Of course. Yeah, I'm sure. This one. Okay. What do we have here? And I got to be careful what I say, because this is one that, you know, it's a little bit touchy subject to the censors, because you can't tell the truth on this one. You have to go along with the shills and lie and tell the lies. You can't tell the real story. You can't tell the real history about this, because they don't want you to know the real history about this. Anyways, by the way, this is in a town called Sandy Hook. And this, well, of course, you see there, a shrine, the Reflection Fellowship. It's part of, well, let me show you here. Let me show you what it's a part of. It's a part of this lodge, the Royal Ark, Harem Lodge, in 1791. Wait, the Great Awakening happened it started in 1790. So, this area kind of happened to be part of that Great Awakening and things that were planned for that awakening. Interesting. Interesting history. You know, listen, I got to be careful what I say about this area because YouTube has an issue with it. And, well, you know, they don't like honesty. They don't want the truth. They don't want the real history. But there's some real history about this area out there. And if you need help finding it, you can always contact me. I'll be happy to help you find the real history and the things that they do and plan for you. And they're, you know, the truth. So anyways, let's kind of come to an understanding that there is what we call an awakening process. People don't want to admit that, well, because of certain actions that took place by the people that wanted to start an awakening, maybe part of the reason why you're awake in the first place. They would like to believe, well, it's either God that did it, and that could very well be. Everybody's got a little different thing. I think, you know, there's some kind of weird bat people that came in and woke me up. And, you know, that's my opinion. But I don't know. Yours could be different. It could be, you know, like salamanders. It could be rabbits, bunny rabbits came to your house and woke you up. I really don't know. That's your own personal thing. But what I do know is you got to stop falling for the bullshit because, you know, we have this going on. Okay, we have this whole Q bullshit. Truth movement, Q. And yet these people that fall for this stuff, they see these little Q patches on Donald Trump's jacket or on these army guys, and no. The army can't be part of the truth movement. The president can't be part of the truth movement. No. Because if you did your studying and understand how all these Masons work and how they create awakenings and how they do these different, basically large-scale civilization psyops to control the freaking people, you would understand that Q can't be part of the truth movement. You understand that the people that are doing this, causing all this trouble, doing these false flags, are the same people that are delivering you Q. So how can that be part of the truth movement? It can't be, no. But we have idiots out there. And I know it drives all of us insane. You want to just strangle these people. You're like, oh, what the freak is wrong with you? You think Q's part of the freaking truth movement? Are you freaking stupid? And it does drive people insane. I know it drives me insane. But, you know, what do? We all understand that, you know, just because somebody's not that bright, you can't just shake them to the point where they start to understand. It doesn't work like that. So, I think the larger understanding needs to be that these people have been captured by this psychological operation called Q, Anon, or whatever the hell you want to call it. And it's been designed to control them to go in a certain direction. I mean, you know, whether the MK Ultra stuff is in their writing or whatever, what I did is I recognized it was bullshit, so I tried not to look at it because I didn't want to, you know, take the chance of if what they're writing, their coding and all that is part of MK Ultra program. I didn't want to freaking get lost, but I recognized right away that it was a bullshit psyop. And you start to see these people, no matter how many times, you know, something that Q promises or the whole movement promises doesn't come true, the rabbit hole goes, people keep on going back. You're like, well, what the hell? You know, here's the thing. Somebody lies to me. I'm like, yeah, okay, now, see ya. That's logical. These people aren't thinking logically. So they're not awake. But on one level, they're starting to understand that things are bullshit. Because this is kind of what happened in a way, I think. What you had is them sloppily do things when forever they were always doing things. But some of us sparked an awakening. A spark went off in our head and said, hey, that is fucked up. That ain't right. And then all the other stuff, you know, that these shields were feeding us, whether it was Alex Jones or else, made us question more stuff. We went out and looked at more stuff. Then you realize that the people that told you this stuff were bullshit too. But still, some of the things that you learned still sent you awakening more. But for others, the other people out there that are falling down this, you know, what do we got here? No, wait, that's even, wait till we see that, you know, bullshit. The plan to save the world, okay? You know, for them, they lended faith into this whole project. Just like whether it was the mega thing or Q, and then on the other side into these other satanic bullshit or whatever these movements are, the green, save the earth, do this and that. And I'm not saying all this stuff is wrong. Just, you know, listen, whether it's Q or the left side or the right side, they all have, they make sure to give enough good things so that you follow along with the bad things. But we see that the people locked onto this thing and they wanted to have faith. You know, whether it was flat earth or, you know, a positive change for the world. They wanted to have that, you know, faith and believe that these promises were going to be fulfilled. But they were just being bullshitted by those same preachers that are from like yesteryear. And a lot of times it's the same freaking families. But those same preachers that came out and kind of woke people up when they went from town to town, okay, from area to area. And then promised them things that never came true. But it woke the people up at a certain level, so they kept on going down a certain religious path or whatever path. And that's what we see going on here, too. So, you know, the plan that all these people believe they're going through is bullshit. But their faith in it is going to lead where the elite want them to go. And for the rest of us, it's going to be very frustrating to see that all these people are going to go down that road. They're going to keep on going down that road. No matter how many times what they're told ends up being bullshit, they're going to just keep on going. And it's going to be frustrating as hell. Because you got to remember, they own, the internet is the new stage, the new wooden stage they have, you know. So they're reaching people through the internet, and they're going to use it, and they're more powerful than us. They have the means to make things look popular, so more people go along with it. They have things to, you know, means to make things popular. They have means to get at more people than we do. So it's going to be very frustrating to see so many people go down these paths. And we're going to see stuff, I think, even in the future that's going to even be more wild, that we can't believe that these crazy people actually believe. Especially the more you wake up, it's going to be even tougher for you to accept that these people are, you know, going for this shit, because it's like, you know, it's just wrong and it's a lie, but you can't stop them. They have this control. They have this power to do these things. Okay. So how do we handle this? That's the good question. How do we handle, you know, trying to stop these people from falling for the bullshit so that the change that these elite want doesn't happen where we end up on the losing side, because these Q followers and these, you know, people that are going along, you know, just like this whole thing with the French protests and the migrations, the people doing the shit don't even know that it's being, you know, supported by all these crazy interests for color revolutions or whatever. They don't even know. They're just going along with it, think they're doing the good thing, even though it's actually a bad thing because of the way it's being led. And it's going to be very frustrating, because how do we stop these things? It's going to be tough. How do we get our movement to do something like that? We can't even get, you know, more than 2 or 3 truthers together at one time, you know, because it is, in reality, when you look at all the shills and everything out there, you know, there's actually a very small, listen, let me tell you something. I've looked into this for a long time. The amount of legitimate people out there can almost fit into, you know, 2 hands. There's a small amount of legitimate people out there, very small. Whether you want to admit it or not, whether they have 1,000 followers or 100,000 followers, majority of people you're watching and learning from are bullshit. Majority. You just don't take the time to look into it. That's your own fault. So anyways, we want to stop them. But this is the way they show us that they could play with people's minds. Okay? Now, can he be alive? Maybe, could be. Doubt it. You know, doubt it. Because where's he been? And then, if they show pictures of, oh, look, this guy looks at him, he's standing around with these military people. Well, then we wouldn't want him back. You know, if JFK Jr. is hanging out with the military, we don't want him back. It means his brain is screwed up. He's been MK Ultra. You know, you don't hang out with the military and your brain be fine. Okay? There's not many people in the military that brains are still freaking, you know, fine. So, they got everybody running down this circle and believing that JFK is alive. Right? And I look at it like this. You know, it's an insult to his family. And that's, let me tell you something, the Kennedy family is a very large family. Very large family. And you're sitting there, you know, all right, maybe, you know, if he's alive, that's one thing, but if there's no real proof, not stupid shit you read on the, you know, internet, there needs to be some, you know, solid proof. You're insulting the family. You're making them relive a horrible death. And how can you ever think that a psyop like Q is even okay? You know? What happens in a couple of years when JFK Jr. is still out there? He's still not alive. Doesn't that mean something should happen to Q? Don't you think something like he should be arrested for doing such a tragedy to John F. Kennedy Jr.'s family by making him relive the experience of his death? Don't you think? You got to be very careful when you go along with these different psyops, because they're making people be unconscious to the fact that they need to think about, you know, how they're affecting other people in this world. Okay? And the way I looked at it, I was very careful before I started talking about these false flags. I had to live the experience and see that, yeah, that was bullshit. I got to see that a freaking false flag income was bullshit, and I had already known about Sandy Hook being bullshit. Okay? Because of the area I came from. So I understood, yeah, these things are bullshit. But if you are not from one of those areas or something, you got to be very careful, because in theory, if one of those people actually did lose a kid or lose a family member or whatever, and you're out there saying, oh, no, they're not really dead, they're alive, you know, how insulting that is to them and scary that is. I mean, that's not the case when it comes to these false flags, because, yeah, they're lying and it's bullshit. But what I'm saying is, you know, just like this thing, whether a person's alive or dead, you really need to be sure about it and not trust something somebody's saying is possibly a psyop on the internet. Okay? You need to really investigate it. And people don't do that, especially anymore. They haven't investigated, like I said, they haven't investigated basic things like the history of Great Awakenings and what went on. They have not looked into these things and not understood what has gone on throughout history to cause people to wake up. Okay? To cause people to be led in certain directions, and how much planning actually goes into it, and how much actually goes into controlling you. Like I've said, you know, just going through the store today, seeing all the magazines, whether they're talking about alien abductions in the tabloids or they're talking about Christmas decorations in the other magazines, it's all just bullshit to design a society they want you to be in. No matter what it is, whether the actors actually know it, whether the news people actually know it or not, has nothing to do with it. They are the magi at the top that know what direction they want people to go in and influence society to go in that direction. There's a lot of actors out there, but the amount of people that actually know what's happening is... I don't want to do that because everybody's going to... What did I say? This is the F you to the Illuminati when I do it like that, right? Screw you, Illuminati. Yeah, there's that much. That much. Little tiny, tiny. Little tiny, tiny. Only a few. Not a lot. Donald Trump a couple times mentioned the 1,000 points of light when George Bush Sr. died. And so few questioned it. Some did. I was happy. That was great to see, because people were like, okay, why the hell is he saying this? And the 1,000 points of light refers to Scottish Rite Masons 29 degrees and higher, which they consider the magi, the magicians, mega. And that's another thing, is we have these people like Q out there, of course, on the inside of knowing, because they're serving you. I mean, unless they just have some computer hacker working for them that doesn't really know the secrets. But with people like me out there telling people this stuff, they should be picking up stuff along the way. So, they're getting people to go along with this mega crap. But yet they're not able to understand its connection to the word magi and to the Masons. No, it's not acceptable to not understand these things. And this is the stuff we have to argue with people on the internet. No, I'm not arguing with those people anymore. You can't fix this kind of stupid. You can't. But we do, somehow got to figure out something to, kind of like zoom in. They're trying to take these people this way, right? They're taking the people this way to where they want to go. And we got to somehow get in there and go, knock them over while carrying the people back in the right direction before they fall into some real crazy shit. Because, how does somebody like Q, whether, or Alex Jones, be okay with misleading people constantly and then taking their money? I don't know how they're okay with it. So all these people that are a part of this are very evil and bad people. And we somehow got to, stop them. Stop them. Stop the people from going along with these people. I don't know how we're going to do it yet, but if we don't start talking about it, it's, the history books are going to be filled with these preachers, these preachers and, the enlightenment of, falling after 9/11, the Great Awakening of this era in the history books is going to be popularized by people like Alex Jones and Q and stuff like that. In all honesty, I think we're just at the front end of what they plan, because they got to bring in the saviors, the ones that, all of a sudden, bam, I'm here, we're going to go down this religious movement because this is for the, right way of the world. So I don't think they've even brought in the big hitters yet. But that's what we got to watch for. I know we need to somehow bring these people back to reality before the big hitters come in. Because once the big hitters come in and start leading these people, game over. Anyways, till next time. Stop falling for that bullshit.